Hello, I'm Zeta Kai for the Gunpla Network, and I've been working on my Akatsuki Gundam, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about undergated parts. So the Akatsuki and a lot of other Gundam model kits have this really awesome plated gold look to them. And it can be difficult at times to remove the parts from the runners without damaging that gold finish. But a lot of kits are conveniently undergated. On the backside of the part, you can see they're attached to the runner in specific ways. These two nubs right here are undergated. This one is not. It's attached in a more standard way, kind of perpendicular to the part on the leading edge of the plastic. Fortunately, most of the parts on the Akatsuki are undergated, where the gate material between the runner and the part is on the underside of the part, thus undergated. And I wanted to show you how I remove these parts from the runners without damaging them. So the first thing you're going to do is clip the part off of the runner, and you do this pretty standard. You make sure that you're not getting too close to the part where you're scratching that gold finish. You want to leave a good bit of nub between the part and the runner when you clip it off, so you have something to work with. And then take your nippers, this is the important part, take your nippers and lay them flat on the back side of the part. You want them on the same exact plane parallel to the way that that part is molded, and then just clip your nub off. Be sure that you're not using the tip of your nipper unless you have to. Try to use the base, the thickest part of your nipper. That way you won't damage it in the future. Anyway, just clip those nubs off, flat on the back side. Sometimes you want to put a little down pressure to make sure you're clipping them clean. And then just grab your knife and scrape along that back edge. Don't scrape along the side. You don't want to be on the leading edge of the plastic, kind of perpendicular to the back side of the part. Just keep scraping along the back, and that will prevent you from scratching the gold finish on the exposed armor pieces. Let's look at another one just to kind of review it. So again, just go in and clip your part off, leave some nub there, leave some of that gate material there, clip your part off of the tree, and then again, go in with your nipper, lay it flat, don't use the tip unless you have to. Make sure it's flat, don't angle it up or down like this. You don't want to do that because you're not going to clean the nub completely off and you could damage that plastic. Keep it flat, a little bit of down pressure, pop your nub off. You're going to have a little bit of flash right there sticking out. You can kind of see it. That's fine. You can just go in with your knife later and just scrape that right off and it will disappear. When you get your knife, when you're done, your part should kind of look like this. On the back side, you've scraped that along that edge. You don't need to worry about damaging that gold finish because more often than not, that's going to be covered up or unseen. And if you do it properly, even right here on these very thin edges, you won't see any damage to the gold finish. It'll still be there completely intact. Just make sure that you're not scraping that edge with your knife. Now, another thing that can help is paying attention to the manual as you build. So this part here has one undergated part, but these two nubs here are just on the side of the piece. And you may think, well, now I'm going to damage the plastic. However, it slots in to the leg here between those two pieces of armor. And it's going to be covered up. Your nubs are going to be covered up by those other pieces. So the very key thing to do here is make sure you're scraping all of that gold coating off of that side so that when you press it between those other two pieces of armor, you're not damaging those pieces of armor either. So go in with your knife and just scrape along that edge. Make sure you're not going in too far, but make sure you're scraping everything off. Take the gold coating off as well, because the last thing you want is a little bit of edge sticking out that when you press it between those two other pieces, it damages that gold finish on those other parts. But if you do it properly and pay attention to the manual and how it's built, you can just press it right down in there, no damage to anything. So it's a pretty kind of basic tutorial. It's not really a tutorial, it's just kind of how I do it. But if you do it properly and you pay attention and are careful, make sure your nippers are on the flat back side of the part and you're not cutting along that edge, you can assemble these really awesome looking shiny metallic kits without those egregious nub marks. Now, unfortunately, there are kits that aren't completely undergated, and we'll talk about that a little bit when I get to the review, once I'm done putting this kit together. But for the most part, you can make them look very, very good. So that's it, a little simple video on how I do it. Remember to keep building, everyone.